Oh, who will shoe your pretty little foot? And who will glove your hand? And who will be your own true love while I'm in a foreign land? The storms are on the ocean, the heavens will cease to be. This world will lose its motion, love, if I prove false to thee. Long ago there was a gentleman married to a woman who loved music. They had a piano in their home, and she had a song for everything, just like Mike's mom. If you get her book of American folk songs for children, there's songs for going to bed. Such a getting upstairs, you done did see. Such a getting upstairs, it don't suit me. Just changed the melody a little bit to get on the auto harp. Sorry about that, Mike. Such a getting upstairs, I never did see. How's it go? You want to help? Such a getting upstairs, I never did see. Such a getting upstairs, it don't suit me. I'm close. The mama had songs for everything. And they had one daughter. They loved their daughter. She was their sweet, sweet, sweet. Sweetie pie, jewel, pearl, diamond, light, star. And the man, he spent his days, he was a merchant. He would travel and do work and always usually come home. He never stayed away too long. And the woman and her child, they spent their days together. And from the very beginning, the mama always taught the daughter everything about things to do. Like when the daughter was 2 years old, the mama was cutting onions, saying, if you're making onions for soup, don't cut them too long and skinny, sweetie pie. And her daughter, 2 years old, standing close by on that delicate balance of a 2-year-old looking up, would say, yeah. They lived in a place where people really loved and prized their gardens. And so out they'd go weeding. And her mama would pull things and say, smell this basil, sweetie. And her daughter knew how to smash it in her fingers and take it in. She could pull weeds and say, this is a weed. Her daughter, that's not a weed, honey. Put that back. And she'd put it back. Doing dishes, she'd stand her daughter on a stool between her and the bucket where they washed. And her daughter could play with her hands in the water while the mother did the dishes. Later, her daughter would say, I never mind doing dishes because when I was with my mama, I could play in the water. I think that's why. This was how it was. They grew doing that work together, and with the work, there was songs. When the stars came out, by and by, by and by, stars number 1, number 2, number 3, good Lord, by and by, good Lord, by and by. When the girl was 12 years old, her mama and papa came in, they gave her a kiss goodnight, and they all went to sleep. And sometime in that night, her mama took her last breath. And the next morning, the father got up and went to work, letting the mama sleep longer. And the daughter came in, and she went to wake her up. Mama. Couldn't wake her mama. Mama. I sent the daddy to work. He actually hadn't gone to work yet because he's still at the house when she finds her. Mama. Daddy. Mama. Daddy. Is she going to sleep 100 years? Mama. The mother's death broke their hearts. And for a long time, they were quite lost, that daughter and father. He drowned his sorrows in wine for a while. She continued to work with the company of the songs. Then after 2 years, he woke up one morning, the father. He took a really hot shower, put on a crisp shirt, polished his shoes, and all he could think was, I need to go and find another woman who can come into our lives. My daughter's 14. She needs a mama. She needs a mother. I'd like to have a companion. I'd like to have a wife. And he went into town. He met a widow. He began to court her. She had 2 daughters, and they married. The first time our young heroine, her name was Nancy, by the way, first time she laid eyes on her new mama was when they arrived in that big carriage with 2 horses. She saw the dust first, and then they pulled up and saw the footman, noticed how he took the horse around back and gave it some water, but he was gone before the girls had their trunk brought up the stairs. She watched as they came up, banging that trunk from side to side, hitting the walls of the stairs. Boom, 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 boom. They came inside her room and they said, oh, this is going to be our room. This will be enough room for 2. This is my room. That's my bed there. There's a room in the attic. You could have that. That's probably smaller than this. It's 2 of us. We'd like to have this room. This is my room. This is our room now. I want to get a few things. If you leave the window open at night, there's a nice breeze. I'm going to get my pillow. This was my mama's hanky. See her name? Let me get my... Okay, you can have that blanket. You're going to like this room. She went upstairs thinking, it's a good thing I like to clean because it's filthy up there. It's dusty. But she cleaned, and she made herself a nice room up there in the attic. And she pushed her bed near the window so she could have breeze there. And it was a good window because she could still see the front. She watched the man leave with horses. And there they all settled down. But what a surprise for Nancy when she found out that the widow and her daughters had come from very wealthy background. They didn't know how to do a thing. They didn't know how to cook or clean or wash, nothing. They were helpless. She was doing the work. Let me show you. I'll show you how to do it. No, we don't want to do it. Our mama never had to do it. You do it. You're good at it. You do it. Well, I could show you. My mama showed me. Your mama showed you? Our mama didn't know how to do any of that. My mama showed me. Let me fix it for you. So that's how it was. There they were. Well, what happened was the widow started to see her daughters and how self-serving they were. And she kept trying to see something, some kind of that out of her new daughter. But there was none. She was good. She was good. She was kind. She was sweet. So she thought, if I give her more work, perhaps I could bring some of that nastiness out of her. She was so embarrassed, the mother was, by her daughters, stunned. She'd never seen it before. How can you raise children and not even see it before? She was embarrassed. Well, there came a day to the house, a messenger from the palace. You know what they look like? Their uniforms, velvet pants, cologne, vitalis in their hair. She answered the door. He had an embossed envelope. He said, an invitation for the ladies of the house. She said, I'm a lady. He said, there's a party. She said, I'll give it to the ladies of the house. He left. She opened it because she did check the mail. She opened it and read it. She ran upstairs, gave it to her sisters. They were so excited. They had something to do now. Get ready for a party. So they spent the next days lowering the bodices on their dresses because they were getting older and they had something to show. Adding ribbon. Those days, that's what you did when you were going to a party. You couldn't just go down to the store, you know. Couldn't have a dressmaker necessarily, not with such short time. And so Cinderella was showing and the names and the ribbons and all. How'd she get that name, Cinderella? Well, the last thing, always every night, was cleaning out the fireplace. Her stepmother always said, don't let the fire burn. You have to put it out. So she would put it out and push all the ashes against the back wall. And then she would rest with her back on those warm bricks. And then she would look up the chimney. And she could see stars out there. And she'd sing that song her mama used to sing. Who will shoe your pretty little foot? Who will glove your hand? Up, up, up the song went. Her sisters would come and sit on the stairs and watch her. They liked her singing, but they never would have told her that. That's how she had the name Cinderella, cinders on her clothes. They got ready for the party. It was a big to-do, and she watched as they left. She went out in the garden afterwards. She was standing waving, then went just around the house. And then just started crying and couldn't stop and didn't understand why. But then there was some magic and bells, and all of a sudden she could smell White Shoulder's perfume. And she knew that her godmother was close. Marie came around the corner, and Nancy was crying, and she said, what's the matter? She said, I miss my mother. She said, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here. Do you want to go to the ball? Cinderella said, I don't know how I can be a queen. How do I be a queen? Asking is free, sweetheart. Do you want to go to the ball? I want to go to the ball, please. And her godmother touched her shoulder with a wand, and she had a lovely dress, crisp taffeta white. She said, how would you like your hair? Up! She said, how about my shoes? What you going to do with my shoes? Can you change them? She said, take your boots off. Well, can't you just change them? No, take your boots off. She took off the boots, and her godmother reached into her purse and pulled out a pair of glass slippers. Oh, she put them on. She said, can I have nail polish on my toenails? So she had it. The color she was thinking, she didn't even have to ask. She said, go and get a pumpkin. Why? Are you going to cook now? No, go and get a pumpkin. Oh, I was growing it for the county fair. Go and get the pumpkin. All right. She went and got it, held it, and boom, it was changed into a coach. She looked inside. She could see the pumpkin seeds around the top. She said, I need coachmen. All right. I have lizards with blue bellies. How about those for the vests? What do you think? Go get them. 4, please. She got 4 lizards. Boom. Lovely men with long noses, blue vests. Very lean, like a lizard. I need a horse. How about my stepmother? No. They're going to change back at midnight. Oh, no, then I don't want to change because I'll never hear the end of it. I have a mouse. We changed to friendly traps. We put peanut butter in it. They get caught on their feet. All right, go and get those. So they had peanut butter smelling horses, 2 of them. You have to come home by midnight, sweetheart, because if you don't, you'll be walking home in those glass shoes. Oh, I'll make sure I'm home. All right. Goodbye. I love you. Thank you. Goodbye. She went to the party. She was so lovely, so simple, so that the butler noticed her, noticed she was alone. He sent word to the prince, and he came and greeted her. He'd already had quite a few dances with lots of ladies, but the chamber orchestra continued to play. And they danced, and then they had a sit-down supper, a very fancy party. There were lemons and oranges by the prince's plate. He shared them with her. And do you know what? Nancy got up in her fancy dress and went all the way down that long table and actually offered some to her sisters. When it came time to dance again, they were, and when it was 11:30 and the clock was dinging, bah, 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 she asked for punch, and that allowed for her escape, and she ran away while the prince went to get the punch. She was home in bed in her flannel nightie when her sisters came up the stairs. They said, "Oh, you won't believe it. There was a lady there, a magic lady, and she gave us lemon and oranges. Look, smell her hands." And she held their hands to her nose, hoped they didn't smell the orange on hers. Well, the prince had such a nice time, he said, "Let's do it again." So they had another party. And her godmother again came and gave her another dress. And it was a different color. And that's why the shoes were glass, you know. They went with everything. Fancy hairdo, a little spritz of white shoulders, and she was off to the party. And she was having such a nice time that when the clock started to dong midnight, she thought it was the 11:30 time. And so she was caught off guard. She had to excuse herself very quick, fast, ran down the stairs, lost the shoe, kept going, and the prince came out, picked up the slipper, and ran out to the gate where the guards where we were in a house, and they were eating Ritz crackers like they used to have really late at midnight always. He said, "Have you seen a lovely lady?" They said, "No, we just saw one lady who looks like she worked here. She had a pumpkin in her arms and she was running." The lizards decided to stay there at the prince's house because they watered at night and they liked it. She went home. You know how it is. They went looking for who would fit in the shoe. And they came to the house, and the stepdaughters tried, and it was too small and was way too big. And then Cinderella was around in the garden when the man watering the prince's horse noticed her, and he said, "You have to come and try on the shoe." When she came inside, her sister said, "Well, she wasn't even there." Cinderella said, "Hey, don't worry about it. It's a little game. Everybody has to try it on. Here, let me try." Vroom. It fit nice, and her toenails, they were still painted. She said, "Just a minute," and she went and pulled from the pile of logs by the fireplace the other glass slipper and slipped it on. Her godmother showed up right then and there. She said, "What kind of dress do you want?" Cinderella said, "I'd like a traveling suit because I'm going to meet his parents now." So she had a very handsome navy blue and white traveling suit with a sailor collar on the back. So great. Her daddy watched her go, very proud of her. He turned to his wife and he said, "There's nothing more beautiful than a tall, handsome woman." She went to the palace, she married the prince, and she kept an eye out for sweethearts for her sisters because she kept thinking to herself, all they need is a relationship. If each of them could be in relationship, it would be like wrought iron in a fire, and it will shape them, and they will grow to be the queens that they can be, just as I did, and just as I am. And so in that place there's a saying, and it goes like this: beauty is a gift, and kindness is a choice, and may all of us live long enough to know that.